Internet, long time no see. And if you don't know me before you unsubscribe, you may have found me through one of these.
In the frigid waters off Bodega Bay, California, a 13-year-old boy emerged as the sole survivor of a devastating boating accident, saved by his father's
Alright, now that we're acquainted. Today we're talking about the so-called fight between Jake Paul and Rusted Iron Mike Tyson. A festival in New Orleans was hit with not one but 2 shootings over the weekend. And are you tired of your dirty poop-colored eyes? Well, you're in luck, because a risky new surgery can permanently change them stinky browns into shocking blues. I have brown eyes, so it's a joke. All in this top of the week episode of... Now, it's been like a month, but it's not my fault, alright? The editor went to Asia and refused to work. That lazy son of a B-word. I also had to move apartments, and that was really annoying, and building a lot of furniture, so we're back. And now that we are, and obviously some stuff happened over the weekend, let's talk about it.
Jake Paul has beaten Mike Tyson by unanimous decision in a match that's raising more eyebrows than cheers. Following this, the reigning light heavyweight champion teased a potential fight with Paul on Instagram, but no official offers have been made.
Okay, so if you somehow avoided hearing about this, Jake Paul has beaten Mike Tyson on paper, but this fight was about as authentic as a reality TV reunion. Paul won with unanimous scores, and somehow we're supposed to believe he dominated a boxing legend for 8 rounds. Sure. And next, maybe they'll tell us Paul's gonna end world hunger. Now here's some food for thought. Artur Beterbiev, the actual undisputed light heavyweight champion and man who destroys careers for fun, tossed out a social media challenge to Jake. Can you imagine? Paul going from sparring with a retired 58-year-old Tyson in what looked more like a choreographed dance than a fight, to potentially squaring off with a fighter with real belts. Beterbiev holds the WBC, IBF, WBA, and WBO titles and is fresh off defending them against Dimitri Bivol.
I'm there since that time during nowadays, you know?
But let's be honest, the post feels less like an actual challenge and a bit more like a, let me remind everyone I exist and I'm not amused by this circus. And good for him, because the idea of Jake Paul jumping from this rigged spectacle to fighting the world champion is frankly laughable. And what's next for Tyson? Apparently he's not retiring yet, because why retire when you can box with Logan Paul and keep that cash flow coming in? Look, Tyson is a legend, but at this point it feels like we're watching a boxing-themed retirement tour that's more about boosting YouTube clout than delivering any kind of legitimate sport. Then there's Netflix, who decided that this was the perfect thing to dip their toes into live sports streaming with. Thousands of users got a front row seat to, well, buffering. For a platform this big to fumble so hard, rough. Maybe just stick to scripted content. Oh, you know what? Scratch that, never mind. They did, didn't they?
2 separate shootings in New Orleans disrupted a parade and celebration on Sunday, leaving 2 people dead and 10 others injured.
First episode back, huh? Couldn't have waited like a week or something. Anyways, what was supposed to be a joyous community event? A parade and celebration hosted by the 9-time Social Laden Pleasure Club in New Orleans turned into chaos when not one but 2 separate shootings erupted. The first shooting happened just after 3:30 p.m. in the St. Roch neighborhood, leaving 8 people injured. While police were still trying to piece that together, another report came in just 45 minutes later. A second shooting near Almonaster Avenue Bridge, less than a mile away. Tragically, 2 people died from that incident and 3 others were injured, one of whom was driven to the hospital by a private vehicle. Now, there are currently no suspects, no arrests, and no clear answers as to why these shootings even happened. The police have admitted that they don't know if these 2 shootings are connected, though the proximity and timing raises some obvious questions. Accordingly, the approaches were, quote, different, but that's not much comfort when the results are the same. You know, lost lives and such. For the thousands who attended the event, this was supposed to be a highlight, a vibrant tradition of the city's 9th Ward. Instead, they got a grim reality of violence overshadowing culture and community. Organizer Oscar Brown and others are understandably calling for the event to remain a wonderful event, but it's kind of hard to ignore the growing shadow of gun violence hanging over public gatherings. It just feels kind of like a pattern that celebrations tend to turn into crime scenes. And I'm honestly starting to suspect that our dear leaders would rather ban public gatherings, outings, theme parks before doing something about our small gun problem. Not saying ban the guns or anything, but they're not even trying to come up with something.
A growing trend in cosmetic surgery is giving people a permanent way to change their eye color, but not without controversy.
All right, let's take a good look, pun intended, at this bizarre new wave of cosmetic surgery. There's a high chance I'm mispronouncing this, so keratopigmentation, the art of permanently changing your eye color. Yeah, this is apparently what happens when colored contacts aren't Instagrammable enough anymore. People like Jason Jimenez here, who went from brown-eyed to gray-eyed in a half-hour procedure, are paying upwards of $12,000 to alter the appearance. And if that sounds sketch to you, that's because it is. Let's start with the mechanics of it all, shall we? Surgeons use lasers to carve tiny tunnels into your cornea, then fill that with pigment. Sounds simple, right? Except for this crazy thing that it's, your fucking eye. The American Academy of Ophthalmology has basically thrown up every red flag possible, warning that the procedure can lead to complications like vision loss, infections, and permanent light sensitivity. Even some people who swear by it are admitting to some lingering issues. Take Lucia Amon Villaro, an artist who got 2 surgeries to make her aqua eyes pop, but now can't step outside without sunglasses. Worth it? Well, that depends on how much you value seeing in the daytime. Then there's the question of why people are doing this. For some, like Jimenez, it's about enhancing their confidence. For others, like 21-year-old Aaliyah James, it's about feeling seen. She's had breast implants, Brazilian butt lifts, and veneers. And now she's added green eyes to her transformation checklist.
Eye color surgery, but I did.
Her take? Everybody wants attention. If this is the new price of visibility, it's kind of steep in both dollars and risk. It's a whole new way to pay to win, people. And the doctors offering said procedure? Well, obviously they're writing a thin ethical line here. The pigments used in the US aren't FDA approved for eyes, and the lasers were cleared for vision correction, but not for cosmetic procedures. It's a little more baffling is how the procedure compares to the alternatives though. Other methods like iris implants and laser depigmentation are even riskier. Those can just cause outright blindness, which makes keratopigmentation almost responsible in comparison. Almost. This whole trend feels like it belongs in the dystopian aisle of body modifications. I mean, we are talking about irreversible, potentially damaging changes to one of the most sensitive parts of the human body. And for what? To look like a Siberian husky? Or to match your Instagram aesthetic? It's kind of hard not to question whether the risks are worth the fleeting satisfaction of a few more double taps. Anyways, on that piece of we really should stop fighting Darwinism, I'm gonna call it. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. And I guess holding out for a month while that slacker took it off in Asia. But it does feel good to be back and, well, I'll catch you next time. Bye.